So you've heard it all before, many times probably. I before E except after C. Capital letters for proper nouns. What's a proper noun, sir? Don't comma splice. Well, yeah, okay, maybe it does sound boring and your brain feels bamboozled with all of the rules, but it's important and it's worth marks. So where is it important in your exams? Well, in a nutshell, it's important all of the time, not just in exams. But in your English language exams, it's important mainly on section B, your writing questions. Okay, so you might say you can write a great letter, or a compelling story, or persuasive speech. But do you know your comma from your colon, and your there from your there? Spelling, punctuation and grammar, and English teachers love acronyms and SPaG must be in the top 10, is crucial. It's the AO6 mark, which is worth quite a bit. But always remember to be convincing and don't overdo it for the sake of it. And here are some top tips for SPaG, for spelling, punctuation and grammar. Spelling. Try to remember some key rules, such as a singular word ending in Y usually changes to IES when made plural, so for example, reply into replies. Think about homophones and how, even though some words sound the same, they have different spellings in different contexts. So, I'm going to the park, I've eaten too much food, I have 2 cats. Punctuation. Using commas, full stops, apostrophes and so on really helps with your writing quality. Remember, 2 cats does not need an apostrophe, but 2 cats' food bowls does, because you're showing the bowls belong to the cats. It's cold is correct, but if I'm talking about the windows of a house, it's windows, that's correct too. And with grammar, be consistent, don't switch tenses unless you are deliberately doing it for a specific purpose. And remember, it is always would have, should have, could have, it is never would have, could have, should have. So let's move on to look at the nuts and bolts of written English in more depth. Now, I do not want you to be put off by accuracy. Naturally, some people find it very difficult, and it is not the be-all and the end-all of your writing. Having a go at tricky spelling is good. Examiners can recognise this, but there are certain things that you can do to help. Let's start with spellings. There are some commonly misspelled words. I'm going to read out some of these, which a lot of people get wrong. I'll give you some time to write them down and then the correct answers will appear on the screen for you to check. Ready? Okay, let's go. The first word is embarrass. So, your young sister might embarrass you. Next, we have definite. Think of finite as in the end or certain outcome, if it helps you. A third one, which is quite tricky, is separate. You might remember it with there's a rat in separate. You want more? Okay then, if you insist. A lot, always 2 words, never one. And finally, particularly. It was a particularly cold day. Now this is obviously just a quick run through of some common words that people misspell. The more you read and take notice of spellings, the better. Punctuation. People often put apostrophes in words that are plurals. How many times have you seen signs like apples in a shop? Now, unless it's showing something belonging to the apple, it doesn't need an apostrophe. The girl's dress is correct for one girl, but so is the girl's house, more than one girl. If a word already ends in S, put the apostrophe after it. So, if you are writing about the tinned pear's skins, that would be correct, if it's more than one pair. If you're writing about the White's car, the apostrophe would go after the S, if you're wanting to show that the car belongs to the White family. Now hopefully you're with me. Yeah? Remember, plural words do not need an apostrophe. You don't always need to use commas. Remember, avoid comma splicing. You can use semicolons, dashes, ellipses instead, or even full stops to shorten your sentences. What about grammar? You might write, the girls were running fast along the lane, which would be correct. But you wouldn't write, the girls was swimming. It would only be correct if it was one girl, in that it would say, the girl was swimming. How many times do you see people writing, I would have come if you'd asked, for example? Never ever write. It's always, always, always have. Could have, should have, would have. And as I said earlier, try to avoid switching tenses unless it is deliberate. It's better to have, and you can see this on the screen, one day the zoo will be the best in the country. It was fantastic to visit and see its potential. Rather than, one day the zoo was the best in the country. It was fantastic to visit and saw its potential. Now hopefully you can hear the main differences between these, so check carefully with your own writing. Let's finish with a task which you will see presented on the screen. There are some pretty major issues with this, and I hope you can pick up on these. You can see these on the downloadable worksheet 2, where you'll find the answers. So good luck. For sale, 2 China dogs, just £10. Your life isn't complete unless you buy these dogs. They're pretty, unusual, and cheap. Buy them now or regret it.